afternoon, sir.
You mind telling me what you're doing out here?
Just having lunch. It's my break.
This park closes to loiterers during the day. Got some ID on you?
I'm not loitering, officer. I'm sitting on a public bench, eating.
Let me see some identification. Need to know who I'm talking to.
Why am I being asked for ID? I'm not breaking any law.
He is a board-certified physician, a man trusted with lives, a man who spends his days inside operating rooms and emergency wards where seconds mean everything. And on this quiet afternoon, he is accused of loitering, not outside a closed business, not behind a locked gate, but inside a public park. The accusation comes from a uniform, a badge, a voice that does not ask, but declares. You've been here too long. The officer does not ask his name, does not ask why he's there, does not ask who he is. Instead, he assumes. Within minutes, the situation spirals from casual scrutiny to something darker, something humiliating, something that threatens to follow this man for the rest of his life. Because in that moment, the officer isn't just questioning his presence, he's questioning his right to exist in that space. And before we continue, what city are you watching from? If this your first time listening, support the channel by liking and subscribing. Stories like this need to be heard, and with your help, we can make sure these events don't go unheard. This is not just a misunderstanding. This is not just one bad interaction. This is a case study in power, in presumption, in how quickly dignity can be stripped away when authority decides you don't belong. And it all starts with a single question that was never really a question at all. Dr. Marcus Reynolds did not arrive here by accident. He grew up in a household where discipline was survival, where education was currency, where excellence wasn't encouraged, it was demanded. Long nights, scholarship applications, double shifts during residency, years spent trading sleep for stability. By his mid-30s, Dr. Reynolds had achieved what many never reach. Medical degree, board certification, a respected position at a regional hospital, a reputation for calm under pressure. Patients trusted him. Colleagues relied on him. Administrators praised him. He mentored younger doctors, volunteered at community health clinics, ran charity 5Ks on weekends when he wasn't on call. And on this particular afternoon, he wasn't wearing scrubs. He wasn't carrying a stethoscope. He wasn't saving anyone's life. He was doing something radical. He was resting. A rare afternoon off, a clear sky, a public park near his apartment. He walked, sat on a bench, returned phone calls, answered emails, a man enjoying the space his taxes helped maintain, a man who belonged, even if someone else decided he didn't look like it. The park is pristine, green lawns trimmed to precision, walking paths that curve like deliberate design. Joggers pass with headphones in, dog walkers smile politely, then look away. This is not a neglected space. This is not an abandoned lot. This is a park nestled between upscale townhomes and luxury apartments. The kind of neighborhood real estate listings describe as quiet, safe, desirable. And in places like this, desirable often carries an unspoken meaning. Dr. Reynolds sits on a wooden bench beneath a tree. Sunlight filters through leaves. Children laugh in the distance. He checks his phone. He has been there maybe 20 minutes. That's when the patrol car rolls in. Slow, deliberate, eyes already fixed. The officer doesn't scan the park, doesn't watch the joggers, doesn't question the man walking his dog off leash. He looks directly at Dr. Reynolds, and something in that look says a decision has already been made. The officer steps out of the car, boots crunch on gravel, radio static hums softly from his shoulder. "Hey," he calls out. Dr. Reynolds looks up, polite, neutral. "Yes," the officer gestures around. "You've been sitting here a while." "It's not a question." Dr. Reynolds nods. "I'm just enjoying the park." The officer tilts his head. "Do you have a reason to be here?" That's when the air changes. Because parks don't require reasons, benches don't require permits, existing doesn't require justification. Dr. Reynolds answers calmly, "I live nearby. I'm off work today." The officer doesn't accept it. "People don't usually just sit around here like that." Dr. Reynolds pauses. "What does that mean?" The officer steps closer. "It means we've had complaints." "Complaints? From who? About what?" None are named, none are specified, just the implication. Dr. Reynolds stays composed. "I'm not doing anything wrong." The officer exhales sharply. "Then you won't mind showing me some ID?" And just like that, a peaceful afternoon becomes an interrogation. Dr. Reynolds reaches into his pocket slowly, not because he's hiding anything, but because he understands the rules of this moment. Slow movements, clear hands, no sudden gestures. He hands over his driver's license. The officer studies it longer than necessary, too long. Marcus Reynolds, local address, no warrants, no alerts. Everything checks out. And yet, the officer doesn't hand it back. Instead, he asks another question. "What do you do for work?" The tone is casual, but the implication isn't. Dr. Reynolds answers plainly. "I'm a doctor." The officer smirks. "A doctor." Not disbelief exactly. Something closer to amusement. "What kind of doctor?" "Emergency medicine." A pause. The officer glances back toward the patrol car, then back at Dr. Reynolds. "You don't look like you just came from a hospital." There it is. The sentence hangs in the air, sharp, unnecessary. Dr. Reynolds keeps his voice steady. "I'm not on duty." The officer circles slightly, not aggressive, but territorial. "So you're telling me you're just hanging out here all day?" "I've been here less than half an hour." The officer's jaw tightens. "We get people casing cars, watching houses, waiting for opportunities." Dr. Reynolds feels it now, the shift. This isn't about loitering. This is about suspicion looking for justification. "I haven't touched anything," he says. "I haven't spoken to anyone." The officer raises his voice just a notch. "Don't get defensive." Defensive for answering questions, for existing. The officer keys his radio. "Can I get a unit over to Maplewood Park?" Dr. Reynolds blinks. "For what reason?" The officer looks him dead in the eye. "Until we figure out what you're doing here." A second patrol car arrives within minutes. Lights flash briefly, then cut. 2 officers now, 2 uniforms, 2 sets of eyes assessing. Dr. Reynolds stands. "I'd like to know why this is escalating." The first officer gestures toward a patch of grass away from the bench. "Step over here. Am I being detained?" The question is calm, practiced. The officer hesitates. "Not yet." "Then why move him?" Dr. Reynolds complies, because he knows what happens when you don't. The second officer asks questions the first already asked. "Where do you live? Why are you here? How long have you been sitting?" Every answer is consistent, every response measured. And still, it isn't enough. "You got anything on you we should know about?" one asks. "No." "You mind if we check your bag?" "I don't consent to searches," Dr. Reynolds replies. The first officer exhales loudly. "See, this is what I'm talking about." Talking about what? Knowing your rights? The temperature rises. A jogger slows down. A woman walking her dog stops entirely. Phones come out. Dr. Reynolds notices. So do the officers. And something in them shifts again, because now there are witnesses. The first officer steps closer. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." Dr. Reynolds swallows. "By sitting in a park?" The officer's voice sharpens. "You're being suspicious." A word with no definition. A charge with no evidence. Dr. Reynolds feels heat in his chest, not anger, something heavier. This could end his career. A disorderly conduct charge, a resisting allegation, a viral clip without context, all because someone decided he didn't belong on a bench. "I want a supervisor," Dr. Reynolds says. Silence. The officers exchange a look. Then the first one laughs, short and dismissive. "For what?" "For being detained without cause." The officer's face hardens. "You want to play lawyer now?" Dr. Reynolds doesn't answer, because this isn't a game, this is his life. The supervisor arrives 10 minutes later, older, more composed, less eager. He listens, really listens. Dr. Reynolds explains everything from the beginning, slowly, clearly. The supervisor turns to the first officer. What's the probable cause? The officer stumbles. Complaints, suspicious behavior, loitering. The supervisor raises an eyebrow. In a public park, he looks at Dr. Reynolds' ID, then asks one question. You said you're a doctor? Yes. Where? Dr. Reynolds names the hospital. The supervisor's expression changes. He knows it, or knows someone who knows it. He pulls out his phone, makes a call. The first officer shifts his weight. The call ends. The supervisor exhales. He's on staff, he says. Verified. Silence. The weight of the moment settles. The first officer's face drains of color. This isn't just embarrassment. This is exposure. Because authority just failed. Publicly. Body cameras were on the entire time, from the first question, to the second patrol car, to the laughter, to the escalation. So were cell phones, angles from across the park, whispers caught on wind. By nightfall, clips hit social media. A black doctor, accused of loitering, detained without cause. The caption writes itself. The comments explode. By morning, the department's phone lines are overwhelmed. Emails flood in faster than they can be read. Local news stations request comment. National outlets begin calling it what it is, a pattern. The department releases a statement before noon, carefully worded, sterile, defensive. We are aware of a video circulating online involving an interaction between officers and a community member. We take these matters seriously and have launched an internal review. No apology, no acknowledgement of harm, no name, but the footage does what statements can't. It shows tone, posture, assumption. It shows how quickly suspicion escalates when it's backed by a badge, how easily procedure becomes pressure, how calmly humiliation is administered when power feels unquestioned. Civil rights attorneys reach out to Dr. Reynolds within hours. By the end of the week, a lawsuit is filed. Wrongful detention, violation of constitutional rights, racial profiling. The city tries to settle quietly. They can't, because the footage won't let them. Months later, the settlement number leaks. $1.3 million, mandatory bias retraining, policy revisions on loitering calls, rewritten language on discretionary stops. The first officer is placed on administrative leave, then suspended, then resigns. No admission of guilt, just disappearance. Dr. Reynolds keeps working. He has to. Patients still need him. Lives still depend on his hands being steady. But something has changed. He doesn't sit in parks anymore. He doesn't linger. He notices patrol cars more than he used to. Not with fear, but with calculation. What am I wearing? How long have I been here? Who's watching? The humiliation didn't end when the officers walked away. It embedded. Friends ask if he's okay now, as if injustice has an expiration date, as if a check erases a moment where dignity was publicly questioned. He says he's fine, because what else do you say? This wasn't about loitering. It never was. It was about expectation, about who looks like they fit the scenery, about who triggers suspicion simply by existing without explanation. Ask yourself this: how many people sat in that park that day? How many were questioned? How many were asked to justify their presence? And how many never even noticed the patrol car roll by? When authority decides you don't belong, what evidence is required to change their mind? A license, a profession, a supervisor's phone call? Or does belonging only arrive once humiliation has already been delivered? What happens to the people who don't have credentials to reveal, who don't have titles that disarm suspicion, who don't get supervisors who listen? The system didn't fail here. It functioned exactly as designed until it was forced into the light. That bench is still there. Same park, same view, same sun cutting through leaves. People still sit on it every day, most without incident. But now there's footage attached to that space, a memory embedded in the concrete. A reminder that belonging is conditional, that dignity can be questioned without cause, that excellence does not grant immunity. Dr. Reynolds did everything right, and it still wasn't enough until power was forced to look itself in the mirror. So here's the question that doesn't resolve cleanly. If a black doctor can be treated like a suspect for sitting still, what does that mean for everyone else? And how many stories like this never get recorded? If this story moved you, share it, talk about it, challenge it, and if you haven't already, support the channel by liking and subscribing, because silence is what allows moments like this to repeat, and attention is often the only accountability power responds to.